the WPKY studio this morning. 4th District Magistrate Phillip Sisk, and he is Democratic candidate for Caldwell County Judge Executive. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good.
All right. Thanks for stopping by. And let me preface this by saying that this is about you. This is not a forum where I grill you with questions. This is just about you telling the folks about who you are, what you stand for, and why you're a candidate for the office that you're running for. And I'll chime in and help out from time to time. But that's the purpose of this, and I will give the floor to you. This is our Democratic candidate for Caldwell County Judge Executive, 4th District Magistrate Phillip Sisk. Take it away.
Well, I want to thank you, Ty, and certainly I want to thank WPKY for what they're doing in allowing the candidates the opportunity. I've always been an advocate of people being educated before they vote. I certainly get on my soapbox too often in fiscal court, especially when it gets around election time, whether it's an election year for local officials or not. I've said many times, and I know I won't say it can't happen, because certainly we could do it. But if we could have a great voter turnout in our county, it would put us on the map. CNN would be in here, everybody'd be interested. Look at this little place in Caldwell County, Kentucky, where the people really care about what's going on, where they care about who they're electing, they care about their community, and they've shown it by getting out and voting. And so that is a right that we certainly have now. I hope we'll never lose, but I think we certainly need to exercise it. I always heard that you weren't allowed to complain if you didn't vote, and I don't feel like I complain. My wife would probably disagree, but I've always I don't think I've missed a vote since I was 18. That's something I've always been committed to, and I know one time I had a broken ankle and I went in with a walker and voted in the bottom of the courthouse. So, that's just certainly something that needs to happen. But I do appreciate WPKY. I appreciate you replaying the forum last night.
Yes.
I did not get an opportunity to listen to it. But I do appreciate that you replayed that, and I appreciate that group that put the forum on. I am Phillip Sisk. I'm a candidate for Caldwell County Judge Executive. My wife of 48 years is Celeste Workman. We've got a daughter and a granddaughter that live here in Princeton, Christy and Lauren Quinn Reynolds. We have a son and daughter-in-law and 3 grandchildren living in Lexington. Phillip Jr., or Bub, as most people around here would know him, his wife Megan, and then 2 girls, Madeline and Lila, and then a grandson, Wyatt. My parents were Frank and Pearl Sisk, and they lived and worked all their lives here in Caldwell County. They adopted me before I was a year old, and I learned the meaning of family values, religion, and hard work from their examples. I'm a lifelong resident of Caldwell County. I've been a member of Northside Baptist Church since 1974. I served on the Caldwell County Rescue Squad for about 15 or so years. I served with the Princeton Caldwell County Fire Department for about 12 plus years, and then I worked with the Caldwell County Ambulance Service as an EMT for many years. I was a small business owner for about 25 years, and I've worked on the chain gang out at the Caldwell County High School football games for 38 years now. It's kind of funny every year when that comes up. Some of the officials are still around that have been there for a few years, and a lot of new officials. And without a doubt, somebody will say, "Well, how long have you been doing this?" And when I say I started in 1980, there will be a younger fellow step up and say, "Well, sir, I wasn't born then."
You've done some officiating too, haven't you?
No.
From the
just sideline officiating. I usually offer, if they happen to be an official short, I'll say, "Hey, we've got a real good crowd over here on the sideline, and most of them know a lot more than you folks do, because we hear it just about every ball game. So if you do need somebody to substitute, I think you could just pick almost anybody out of the crowd." But that's a fun time for me. It's hard for me to sit and watch a ball game from when I go to a lot of the away games, but it's hard to sit in the stands and watch it when you've been on the sideline. I've certainly enjoyed that time, and I hope I'm able to continue. Jerry Perkins has been doing it a long time. We lost one of our guys, Bob Hayes. The WPKY kind of came in and swept him away from us, but I think Bob always enjoyed it. But I am currently serving on the fiscal court. I represent District 4 as a magistrate, and I've been serving since 2011. So that's a little bit about my background, and as far as where I stand and what I want to do, certainly my fire department, rescue squad, and ambulance work has been a big benefit for my time on fiscal court. We've had bumps in the road with fire service and ambulance service over the last 7 or 8 years, and I've been able to kind of step in and help solve any problems, any issues, and keep all of our services viable. I know it's been mentioned some that maybe the county wasn't on stable financial ground a few years ago, but I guess I would disagree with that. We've always continued to provide services to our county, and we only continue to improve our financial position. And I'd like folks to be, as I said, educated, so I want to make you aware a little bit of the budget process. It's not really any different than state budget or federal budget, other than maybe the vetoes and the overrides and that part. But by statute, the job to propose a budget falls to the county judge executive, and they're required to be then in the hands of fiscal court by May the 1st. And then it's the duty of the court to investigate, examine, and amend that document to make it work for our county. After that, we have a first reading, which is our tentative approval of that budget, and then it goes off to the state finance officer at the Kentucky Department of Local Government, and each area of the state will have a finance officer assigned to them, so he's familiar with the situation in each county. Once he reviews that and makes sure it meets state requirements and any obligations that we might have with the state, then he returns that to us with their approval. Then we're allowed to have our second reading, which is final approval and our adoption of that budget. So this is the manner that county government operates. We must operate as a team. Every member needs to be informed of the county's business, and one person should never claim credit for any work, because it is a team effort. If we're not working as a team, we just can't we're spinning our wheels. We can't get things done. The city-county pool project was started during the previous administration, and it was finished up during the current term. And because of our financial stability, we didn't have to borrow any money to do that project. We were able to fund it right out of money we had in the budget. The $1 million grant for Bright Life Farms was started in the previous year, and it's finishing up right now. And we owe a lot of gratitude to many people, but certainly to PAD. PAD does the grant writing for projects, and I think many times we want to step up and say, oh, look what we did here, look what we did there. PAD is a big servant for us. They make us look good along a lot of lines, and they certainly take care of us with many things, and grant writing is one of those big things. The main part, I think, that the judge and the magistrates play in some of those roles are just the lobby to get those things through, to make sure that those grants get through the process and that they follow up. So that's kind of where the way the budget works and where our financial status is at this time. I guess a good example of folks working together, lobbying and calling for a project, the bridge washout in July 27 of 2015 on State Road 276 out on the Trigg County and Caldwell County in the Blue Spring area. A Trigg County lady lost her life in that accident, and I was in Lexington that morning awaiting the new grandson. It was kind of one of those scheduled arrivals, so we were up there a day or so early. I got a call about probably 6:30 in the morning telling me about what had happened, and the person that called certainly had helped with what had went on there during the accident, but was already concerned about what was going to happen to our county roads because of that. And everyone in that area knew that County Road 1155, what we know as Red Hill, was the perfect detour for that. And the county or the state, I'm sure, was aware of that, and they chose not to mark that as a detour. Had they marked it, they'd really been obligated to take care of it, but certainly we felt they were obligated anyway. And I started making calls that morning. That road was not in perfect shape at the time, and certainly I knew, depending on the length that it would take to rebuild that bridge, that it would probably be pretty rough. So as it turned out, it was about 2 years before that bridge was completed and reopened. But I started making contact with the Transportation Department in Frankfort and anybody else that would listen, some maybe that didn't especially want to listen but got to hear it anyway. And I was promised basically from that day that the county would see the state resurface that road when it came time. I impressed on them that I didn't want to see it happen until after we had a good, new, finished bridge that was permanent, not a temporary bridge. I didn't want to, get it resurfaced and then wear it out before we got a finished project. So, and I think they appreciated that side of it. But ironically, I was en route to the second washout, which was July the 7th of 2016, almost a year from the original washout. They had built a temporary bridge, and Commissioner Gary Reese of the Rural and Secondary Roads was calling me, questioning me about the original washout, just trying to get some paperwork started and worked. And I made him aware of the second washout, and he said, "Oh no, you're mistaken. I'm talking about the original." And I said, "Yes, but do you not realize it happened again this morning?" And he did not. So I sent him pictures, and that kind of put a focus on that project with Frankfort. During that period, there's a lot of people that had changed jobs. Administration in Frankfort had changed. We had a new governor in office. And through all that, with a lot of local people and a lot of them in that area making phone calls and contacts, and the state stood and paid to resurface that road. And I don't want any one person receiving credit. Everybody worked together. It's teamwork. We all have to work together, and but we should all be happy that happened, and just share in the joy that we were a part to make that happen. So I'm a big teamwork person. Fiscal court has to be aware of the county's business. We have to know what's going on so we can do our part. And certainly we've had a good court. We have worked together, I think. We can work through any questions I think that we have. But again, this just demonstrates the need for relationships with your local, with your state officials. You've got to take every opportunity to meet and get to know those folks, cabinet secretaries, commissioners, department heads, chiefs of staff, certainly the governor, the lieutenant governor, the legislators, from the speaker to the president of the Senate, right down the line. And I probably I've heard some people say, well, they don't really like to see Magistrate Sisk coming, and they probably don't, because anytime I see them anywhere, whether it's in a restaurant somewhere or whether it's in the halls of the Capitol, I'm going to ask for money. I'm going to tell them, Caldwell County needs money. I keep business cards in my pocket, and many times I have notes written out on them ahead of time saying, when the vocational school was looking for a piece of that $110 million pie that was thrown out there, I had a card for Hal Heiner saying, Caldwell County High School, Carol Boyd, here's his cell number. Our vocational school needs help. And that's what it takes. People have to work toward that. But when you need help and they can put a name with a face, it just makes a big difference. The resurface for Red Hill, the animal shelter grant we received a few years ago, the vocational school grant, extra funding that our airport has received. All of this is because of making contact with the right people and the teamwork of everybody working together for a common good. If other magistrates or the judge or other not even local officials, just other people within the community know, hey, we need funding for this and we're working toward that, many of them make contacts with their representatives or their senators, and they can mention, hey, I know our county needs this, our school needs this. We all, when we're all working together like that, it makes a difference, and it is very impressive to those state legislators and those state elected officials.
No doubt. I tell you what, Phillip, this is a good place for us to pause. We're almost halfway through this.
Okay. All right.
We're at about 8:45, coming up on 8:45. We started a little bit right there about 8:30. So let's take a quick break here on Tiger Talk, and we'll come back and we'll talk some more. You've got some more things you'd like to get out there, and stay tuned. We'll be back. You're listening to Tiger Talk, this Friday edition on your hometown radio station, WPKY The Tiger. Hancock's Neighborhood Market on Commerce Street in Cadiz is the place to shop for delicious homemade goodness. Hancock's makes their own fresh chicken salad, pimento cheese, salads, and a variety of mouth-watering desserts, sure to please your entire family. While at Hancock's, be sure to visit their meat department for the best selection of USDA choice meats in the area. Hancock's Neighborhood Market in Cadiz, hometown, homemade goodness, and the Hancock name you know and trust for quality for your family. Hancock's Neighborhood Market on Commerce Street in Cadiz.
Since 1978, Perry's Floors and More has been selling, installing, and servicing homeowners throughout Western Kentucky with quality flooring and workmanship. Perry's Floors and More carries luxury vinyl plank and luxury vinyl tile, carpet, window treatments, and more. Quality brands like Mannington, Shaw, Tarkett, Beaulieu, and Flexitech. There is a reason why we say you can walk on our reputation. Come see Bill and Lucy at 127 West Market Street or call 270-365-9869.
And at 8:46, we're back here on Tiger Talk Friday edition. We have 4th District Magistrate Phillip Sisk and Democratic candidate for Caldwell County Judge Executive in studio today. And we're learning about the candidates. And as we get closer to the May 22nd primary, which is coming up next Tuesday, Phillip, it'll be here before we know it.
I'm ready.
All right. Well, continue on, sir.
All right. Thank you. You know, we'll always have projects to address in our county, and one that I've been concerned about for some time is our policy and procedure manual. It's a backbone of our operations, and our current manual is dated August of 1990. It's had some updates through the years, but we have to update it and replace it. The taxpayers are not protected. The employees are not protected. The county's not protected, and we just have to get that thing updated. Another thing that certainly is on everybody's mind, we've got to grow our economy and our tax base, and we need to do that through economic development. I'm troubled that we've been without an executive director for the Lake Barkley Partnership, excuse me, since the resignation of Randy Major almost 2 years ago. You're in a back seat as a small county, and when you're without a director, you're really traveling at a snail's pace. I know there's information that can't always be shared, but just a reminder that those boards are still working and out there beating the bushes would certainly make me feel better. As fiscal court, we really hadn't been updated on any of that situation over the last 2-3 years, and other than Christian County joining this year. And, I think we just have to be kept aware. I had a few issues some time back. I was looking up the Caldwell County Industrial Authority, and it popped up on the website that Judge Wade White was a contact person, and I thought, I've put something wrong or something's happened here, but evidently that was a misprint or a misunderstanding of something that was put on that website. I served on the partnership board for just about the 4 years during my previous term, and we were making a lot of progress. We had started an incentive program to help new businesses get up and running and to help existing businesses improve. It had to be approved by a board, and I think during that first year, I don't remember how many projects there were, but I think we created about 20 new jobs. So I'm not sure if that's still in effect, but it was certainly something that I felt like was moving us forward. we're in the best geographical area, or we have rail service, barge service, interstate highways. I think industry should be knocking our doors down. They should be lined up here ready to come. And I feel like there must be a problem, and maybe we're our own worst enemy. I don't know. Maybe everyone's not as interested in higher paying jobs. Maybe it would make existing business have to raise their wages a little. Maybe it would make our town grow and create endless opportunities and have our children and grandchildren returning here to live and work. A bad thing? I don't think it is. I think it would be a dream come true. But it requires work, it requires effort, it requires sacrifice, it requires desire, and it requires that we all get on the same page and work for the same thing and make it happen. So I'm willing to do that, and whatever it takes to make that go, I want to do it. I've served the past couple of years with the Princeton-Caldwell County Airport Board. We've got a great little airport for the size of our community. We've got a 41-foot runway, and we can handle small jets here. We have instrument approach. And after the city donated a car as a loaner for pilots that flew in here, we've had a lot more folks using the airport. I know last week I was asked if the airport was open and able to be used, and I said certainly. And the lady said, well, there's a plane going to fly in here and pick up a dog to be transported to a new owner somewhere. There's a system of, sometimes it's by vehicle that people coordinate and volunteer to do. And she said, I was going to have to drive to Mayfield to meet that plane, but that plane could land here. So I'm glad that made things work, and just another something that speaks for our airport. It's a huge asset for economic development. Many times the first view of Caldwell County for prospects coming here is from the air. Our airport's their method of travel. During the solar eclipse last year, we had planes from all over the United States. I think we had 56 planes on the ground at one time. And I know our commissioner in the state contacted me about that and used it in many of his speeches across the state. So our airport's required by the FAA to construct a new taxiway, and we're going to receive $1 million grant for this project. But the city and the county will be responsible for a part of that. And with that concern, we invited the Aviation Commissioner, Steve Parker, to come down and visit us and bring part of his staff. He flew in a year or so ago and spent probably 3 hours here touring the airport and just speaking with the airport board members and with the mayor and the judge and with myself. And he assured us at that time that this project would happen and the state would participate and help provide funding. They've already been assisting with some small ongoing projects, and we certainly appreciate their interest in the airport. In speaking with Colonel Parker earlier this year, he thinks that general aviation airports in rural areas are going to begin attracting business opportunity from drone-related services, and he thinks we certainly should be expecting to see that happen for this airport. But again, meeting those officials and creating that relationship just promotes our progress. So roads and road money are always and will always be a major concern for me. There's never enough money, and we continue to drive and create potholes. Our road money should never be taken for granted. It's a hard system to learn. I understand the program, and I worry on a daily basis about what our funding will be. I question our road money many times. I'm in fear of losing any road money. I think our road agreements should be signed early in the year, maybe February, and many times it's June before that happens. So I just have concerns. I built, I think, 4 bridges in my district during the previous term, and I don't think this court actually has built any bridges in the county. We need several new bridges, but again, funds are the driving force for that. So we have to lobby day and night for more road money. There was a town hall meeting a few years ago, and I'm not sure how many court members attended, but at any rate, I was there and probably spoke more than I should, and usually the answers I made worked around the money. And in a week or so, a lady wrote an article in the newspaper, letter to the editor, and said, well, her main concern was that there was a magistrate that was way too worried about the money. Well, I took that probably not the way she intended, but I took it as a compliment because as a public servant responsible for financial affairs of the county, I'm always going to be too worried about the money. There's never enough money, and you better be in constant worry about the money. When the federal government and the state government makes cuts, it falls right in the lap of our local government, and we have to watch the money. I want to address the fact that it's been told that I want to raise taxes or I want to raise property values. These are not true. I don't like paying tax any better than anybody else. Tax money is a necessary evil, but as fiscal court took over the operation of the failing ambulance service and the debt that it was under, we haven't had to borrow any money to keep that operating and moving forward. And yet a lot of people have said, well, look at Lyon County, look at Livingston County. Well, I looked at those counties, and they both have ambulance tax. I don't want an ambulance tax. I hope we can make this work without an ambulance tax. We do need to grow our tax base, but it needs to come through growth of our county and through new business and industry. So I'd like to speak to a question that was asked at the forum Saturday night, and I think it's concern for a lot of folks. And I was asked afterward, a lot of people didn't understand the way it had operated. So the question was about the animal shelter and animal control, about complying with state regulations and policies. And my answer was kind of bragging on our fellow magistrate, Albert Bennett. He serves on the State Ag Commission's Animal Control Advisory Board in Frankfort, and they oversee the rules and regulations. And I feel sure that Albert would keep us aware of any updates or any changes. And so I feel safe and proud that we have Albert going to Frankfort for us and representing our county and looking after Caldwell County along that line. The other part of the question was about management and operation, and like all county positions, I expect that all employees to do their job, 8 hours work for 8 hours pay. But a lot of people feel the shelter was operated best when Abby Tucker was an animal control officer, and the fact is Abby was a full-time city employee and a part-time county animal control officer. The city participated in that position, and as a police officer, Abby could enforce city ordinances. The city has not participated since that time, and the county doesn't enforce city ordinances. The city and the county need to work hand in hand to complement each other. I have a great working relationship with the mayor and city officials, and in solving FAR issues, city-county park problems, the airport board, partnering to improve Beckner Lane into the school a few years ago. But we must work together to move forward, and I think animal control would be a good example where everyone working for the good of the people can make a difference. I participated in the grassroots effort called Caldwell Igniting Voices, and we had a survey out asking a few questions about what people felt like about the county and the needs of the county. I think we overwhelmed the University of Kentucky with the amount of surveys we turned in, and they have not been able to process all that yet. But I know early on some of the probably concerns were affordable housing to rent or to buy or even places to build. And so and then they were worried about more opportunities for our youth and then, of course, better jobs. So as we receive those results, I hope the county and the city and all interested parties will be willing to step up and help the county move forward along that line.
Well, believe it or not, we're getting real close. So we've taken a break. I'm going to give you a few minutes here as we end, just kind of summarize and go from there. I know you've got a lot of stuff. So I'll let you do that, and then we'll wrap up this edition of Tiger Talk.
All righty. Sounds good. We've got to keep our youth and our seniors in our plans for the future. Fiscal court's always supported Youth Incorporated, 4-H, City County Park, Dotson, and Fredonia Parks. But to promote growth and move to the future, we have to consider improvements in these areas. We're constrained by statute on exactly how we can spend and what we can spend, but we certainly have to plan ahead. With our seniors, we've helped fund Meals on Wheels, PACs, senior citizens, and those folks have been a part of our community. They've contributed, and we cannot forget them. We have to take care of them. County government's big business. I have the business experience to handle the job. When you're the owner, the janitor, the window washer, the person that has to pay the bills and make sure we sell enough to make a profit, you learn to make the best decisions. There's no main office or headquarters to call when you're in small business. It's on you, and you just have to make the right decisions because it's either sink or swim, and certainly that's the way I look at county government. It's big business, and we have to make the right decisions. I have more time on fiscal court and more training hours than all candidates. I've made many friends and working relationships with state officials and county judges and magistrates across our state. We have to update our policies and grow our jobs and economy to move toward the future. So,
all right. I'll take one more break. We'll come back, and we will about wrap up here. We're listening to Tiger Talk here in your hometown radio station, WPKY The Tiger.
Since 1978, Perry's Floors and More has been selling, installing, and servicing homeowners throughout Western Kentucky with quality flooring and workmanship. Perry's Floors and More carries luxury vinyl plank and luxury vinyl tile, carpet, window treatments, and more. Quality brands like Mannington, Shaw, Tarkett, Beaulieu, and Flexitech. There is a reason why we say you can walk on our reputation. Come see Bill and Lucy at 127 West Market Street or call 270-365-9869.
And we're wrapping up Tiger Talk with our Judge Executive candidate, Democrat Phillip Sisk. And I'll let you summarize.
Thank you, Ty. I think I've tried to cover what I could. I've about used more time than I need to, so I just ask for your consideration and support. Please vote to keep me working for Caldwell County. I'll do your job. Thank you a lot.
All righty, sir. We thank you for being here today, and we certainly appreciate all our candidates who have participated in this. And, of course, the primary coming up Tuesday, May 22nd. We encourage everybody that is eligible to go out and vote here in Caldwell County. My thanks